Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Tarot Show here at Beyond Mystic with Ashala, bringing you a forecast for this upcoming week, August 10th to the 17th. You'll see that I'm not on live today because I actually had to pre-record the show. I am traveling. I'm actually on a beautiful hike in the wild forested area of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada, with my younger daughter this weekend. So I'm bringing you all blessings. That beautiful tree energy, tuning in with you as you are watching. I'll be tuning in and thinking about you. So we've just gone through the Lionsgate portal. I know a lot of people are talking about this. We've seen massive fluctuations in the financial markets. And the Lionsgate portal really is about, to me, what I've learned about it is that it's about momentum and setting a tone that creates momentum that continues. So a lot of what happens around this time of year is, maybe in a way you could say, it's a look ahead at what the upcoming year is going to be like. So if this is any indication, we know where we're at and we know we can expect more of the same. It's also really important to see how we meet those challenges and transitions. It's a time of creative chaos, and having the courage to be in that wild, chaotic energy, but to use it to our advantage to accelerate our creativity as beings. That's what I'm focusing on. Before we get into the forecast, I just want you to remember, please like, share, and subscribe here at the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And if you're interested in having a session with me, you can find me here at the Beyond Mystic consultations page. You can book a 1-hour session with me. Again, I believe I've got some spaces still left at the end of August and into early September. Please access the coupon code in the banner below to receive your % discount on a session with me. So let's go here, folks. Let's see what's going on in this upcoming week. Just cleared the cards energetically, shuffled them, and now, this one wanted to stay on the bottom. So I'm actually going to put it aside. It happens sometimes, when you're shuffling, some cards fly out, some don't go along with the rest of the pack, and I don't really give a huge amount of significance to it, other than perhaps acknowledging that it stands alone as a message. And this card that stands alone for us this week as a message is 6 of Pentacles. It is sharing and reciprocity. It is in the financial realm, and it is the energy of shared abundance. So something that's going on financially in the markets has the potential to bring out the best, I want to say, next wave of abundance for humanity. It is a beautiful turning point. It's moving us towards more sharing and reciprocity and less scarcity and lack. So just gave that one a little nod at the beginning here because it really wanted to be looked at. All right, here we go. We're in, and we can see that this is a time where it's very easy to, Janine and I used to call this the pity party card. It's very easy to feel sorry for ourselves. Emotions have been running high, and it's easy to look at what's lost. So we have this character, 5 of Cups, in the house of Aries, the self, the ego is feeling a little sorry for itself. I feel like sometimes when we go to these places, it's the only time that we stop and tune in with our inner landscape, and there's no avoiding it. So it's a time where we can take stock of what is lost. And then if we can reframe that and look at it from new eyes, how can what is lost actually indicate, I want to say, what we need to refocus on? So there's something about what is lost that doesn't serve us anyway, is what I'm hearing. And we have the opportunity, as this character does here, if he looks over his shoulder, there's two cups, beautiful cups full, waiting for him. It's just which way is he looking? You know, it's the classic, is this cup half full or is this cup 3/4 empty? And you know, we're seeing that it is, if we can look at what's lost as something that was ready to go anyway, and what could replace it is something that's better for us in the long run. That kind of ties in with that Six of Pentacles, doesn't it? Okay, so here we go. Oh my gosh, we're jumping in the deep end, folks. The Death card, transition, big change, irreversible change underway. And this is in the house of finances, material security, and just stuff, right? So there's a, look at this. There, you know, even though we want this system gone, it's always hard to let go of things, even things that are not good for us, right? There's some aspect here of, we're feeling it. We're feeling that things are never going to be the same. And I think we can talk about that. We can philosophize about that. We can talk about New Earth. But when we're actually right in the trench, looking at things disappearing around us, it is a little bit unnerving, right? Let's see what Gemini wants to do about it. Oh, dears, dears, dears. I'm holding your hands and hearts. So far, we're on a pretty deep dive into, let's just call it a bit of a dark night of the soul this week. You know, people often say, oh, Ashala, you just talk about happy things and you don't go into these dark places. And I do when they show up. What I really want you to be aware of and very vigilant with is that these things, it's kind of like storms that come and go. And if you start believing that this is reality and that things are going to get worse and worse and worse, and the despair of that, you're not focusing on that. Remember the Six of Pentacles at the beginning. What's going wants to go anyway, like it's getting replaced with something better. So Gemini is the mind. This is the anxiety in the mind card. Sleepless nights. How do you reset your mind when it goes down those despairing roads, right? Let's see what our ground here in the house of Cancer, home. This is kind of safety and sanctuary. What's there? Oh, look at this. Okay, so there's something about putting our, I feel like this guy was in that position last week too. There's something about putting our security in people. And again, I'm just getting a really strong energy about the healthy masculine. Like, I want to say this is a time where men can rise to the, I want to say the demand of what's being asked. So what's being asked is that we are looking for practical ways to come around money, our relationships to money, new systems of currency. So men are definitely leading the charge in this area. Like the cryptocurrency world is predominantly male. And I also even get the feeling about practical solutions to kind of tide us through these chaotic transition times. So yeah, there's something about putting our trust in men responding to these crises in a good way and coming up with practical solutions, even if it's just temporary solutions around protecting what we have. Okay, so let's go to the next position. Boy, this is a big week, everybody. We've got in the house of incoming options. This is also the house of Leo, which is where we are right now. We are in the Leo Sun month, the entire month of August. Well, almost the whole month until we get to the 22nd of August. We're in that Leo energy, courage, also bravado, generosity, but also arrogance. So this is the two sides of that coin that are kind of battling it out right now. And the priestess in the house of what's coming in, a little bit like last week, call on your spirit guides, call on your ancestors, call on your allies, call on your spiritual masters, because they are there on demand, waiting for your call. That's what I'm getting. It's almost like this is the house of Gemini is all this anxiety, and they're saying, put it through the spirit line, put it through your heart. Don't try to solve everything with your head. Ask for help. Ask for signs from the universe. Ask for universal guidance and direction this week. All right, let's go into, oh boy. I just want to say I'm looking forward to, I'm getting about 2 or 3 weeks from now, this storm will have passed and we will be on another fast evolving, happier feeling trajectory. We're in it right now. This week we're in it. We've got 7 of Cups in the house of Virgo. Virgo is about our daily life, our habits, and also our health. And so this is this card 7 of Cups, which can be, I feel like a lot of our health conditions resurfacing, and also addictions and unhealthy patterns in our mind and in our physical constitution. So again, this week is definitely so far presenting us with a fair amount of inner challenge. And we're just going to keep going, knowing that that 6 of Pentacles is at the bottom of all this, and it threw itself out there first to be considered. We'll go back to it at the end. Okay, let's see what's in partnership, in relationship and partnership. Well, hooray! Finally, another good card. Creativity. This is that she is actually the Leo queen. She's the queen of fire. She's in the house of relationship. You can actually see the lions, the 2 lions above her head. There we go, Lion's Gate. And she likes to stir things up. She's courageous, she's extroverted, so there could be some kind of connection or courageous way of showing up in relationship this week. Creativity, self-expression. So direct your potential, I want to say, getting stuck in old patterns around addictions and thoughts and beliefs. Direct that into art, direct that into creativity, direct that towards, I don't know, everything from writing songs, writing poetry, making art. Yeah, a good week to activate the creative energy. Again, we're looking at momentum. So I get the feeling let's just say those negative spellcasters have been busy doing their best to just derail us and take our focus off of that energy of creating that tone or momentum over this Lionsgate portal into this is also the week of the Perseids meteor showers. It's a very activated, dynamic, creative time of year. We just had that new moon in Leo, all about how we define ourselves in terms of our creativity, our unique self-expression. Who are we? How do we express that? We could be feeling maybe a bit out of sorts. This could be a week to really accentuate that. So, if all else fails, like, go and maybe get some new clothes or do a little bit of a personal makeover and present yourself, express yourself in a new way, particularly with relationships. Okay, we're at the halfway point. I'm just going to remind you again. Here we go. If you want to book a session with me, this is where you find me, the Beyond Mystic consultations page, and you can use this coupon code below, which is Beyond Mystic, all in capital letters, to get 10% off a 1-hour reading with me. As I said, I'm booking into the later part of August and early September now. And of course, as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here at the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. Yay. All right, let's keep going. I'm hoping that the top portion of the wheel will be a little bit more relieving. Let's see. So far so good. We have in the house of Scorpio. Scorpio is about, the ending and new beginning. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. The endings and new beginnings. It's about death and rebirth, right? We have the death card right here across from it in Taurus. So when I do this wheel spread, there's a lot of dynamic ways to read it. And reading the influences that are across from each other, just like in astrology, reading those as significant is really interesting. So we have the death card here in Taurus, money, finances, resources, right across from this new beginning in the heart, unconditional love, the frequency of the heart, like literally the rebirth or the reset of the heart in Scorpio, which is the deepest, most emotionally potent sign in the zodiac. So we had this energy of creativity, self-expression in relationship. Now we have this beautiful rebirth card in transformation. Let's keep going. I'm liking where we're headed here. Oh yeah, good. So in our house of Sagittarius, that is travel, adventure, exploration, creativity. It has to do with expansion. Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion. So how are we expanding this week? With all the little practical things. So it may not feel like you're really climbing out from under the rock this week, but utilize your practical time to do something expansive. So let's just look at this line here. We've got this very distressing anxiety in the house of Gemini. If we just sit around thinking, we're going to be anxious this week, because let's just face it, there's a lot to be anxious about. So what's the antidote is to get your hands busy doing something practical, possibly even something creative. So with those two cards, and even this King of Pentacles down here in the house of home, it could be a great week to do some sort of creative project. Something that is helping you feel connected to the things that you value, to your version of New Earth. I think we saw something like this last week. This week, it's going to literally just be to take your mind off the things that are really making you anxious. So, get working with your hands, doing something practical. That is the extent of our real expansiveness this week. But it's always interesting. I find that when I channel my energy into something craft like or artistic, even though it just feels like I'm, maybe killing time or something like that, it always ends up leaving me feeling more grounded and heart centered. There's something about when you're doing stuff with your hands, especially if you're making something that's and artistic and useful. Wow, that's the best combo, right? And when you're doing that, you'll notice that you just start this intense thinking and anxiety just starts to calm. So, whatever your practical skills and artistic skills, if you don't have any, look to a building project or, yeah, a little DIY project or something. Get creative this week. Work with your hands. It's going to help. It's going to help what's going on up here. Okay. And let's jump to this high house now. Calling it the high house of Capricorn. This is where we look to how we're going to interface with the world at large. It's a lot about our relationships to that big outer world and also how we're feeling self-actualized, how we're feeling aligned with our purpose. There's been so much. So we got Four of Swords there. There's been so much, I want to say over the last 4 years, hasn't there? There's been so much of like if you're navigating towards purpose, it's almost like navigating towards the North Star and it just keeps shifting. Everything's moving so fast. It's really hard to get your bearings. Like what you even thought was purposeful 4 months ago might not feel like that right now. And that is super, I want to say, overwhelming. I'm going to give you a little Gemini tip because Geminis are the classic masters of changing their plans, their goals, their careers, their thoughts, just like they change their clothes every day, something new. But interesting that metaphor because, the truth is, in terms of thoughts, goals, plans, and ideas, Gemini have a huge wardrobe. Uh, but the good thing is you just never know when the occasion for one of those things that's been stuck way at the back shows up. And the good thing about Geminis generally is that we don't worry about that. We don't be like, oh no, I didn't get that. I didn't get to wear that outfit that I bought that I thought would look good. Oh, I feel so bad. We're like, great, just put it in the closet. It'll get worn someday. Like there's a real feeling of, and I hope you're following the metaphor here. I'm not talking about going out and buying a bunch of clothes, even though I mentioned that earlier. What I'm talking about is looking at life purpose, career, direction, your interface with the big world as you've been really designing a new wardrobe or style. You've been really working on gathering a lot of interesting pieces over these last 4 years. It just doesn't seem to land. I'm hearing this from so many clients. I just can't seem to like, lock in and get integrated with any of them. They're just all seem to be hanging there, like waiting, right? Like these swords hanging, waiting. Meanwhile, this individual is literally designing the ultimate. Okay. So, my suspicion when I see this card in this position is that a lot of what you've thought about, focused on, prioritized, planned for, and directed yourself to over the last 4 years will come to pass in some way, but it may continue to sort of, I want to say, be recycled into a greater plan. So it may not come out in fruition exactly the way you visualized it. But please do not despair. It is not a waste. It is not a waste. You are, you're going to recycle and literally add all those pieces together to build a greater version of your destiny and your purpose. And it's okay if none of them are really landing right now. We are all feeling that way. So take some deep breaths and know that so much of what you've been focusing on, gathering, researching, planning, learning, studying, practicing, will have tremendous value. It's just maybe not going to look like the interface that you thought it would, and that's okay. So that's a big one. That's a big one. 4 of Swords up in the house of Capricorn. Again, we've actually seen something like this a lot in this last year. There's been a lot of this where people have to sort of just stay in suspense about how their gifts are going to get called on from the universe. I'm hearing take some deep breaths and meditate on the perfection of timing, because you may be surprised even what follows a week like this, right? We were off to a pretty intense start here. And a lot of times we can get stuck in that and be like, oh no, woe is me, things are going down. And often, if we can hang in there a few days, a week, a month maximum, you can see like that energy, I want to say, it gets metabolized into the big picture and somehow healed and transformed into something much better. So in order to transmute a lot of what's happened over eons, really, lifetimes, we go through a bit of these dark nights of the soul. And if we can stick with it and not go into total reactionary anxiety and terror, we have the opportunity to grow beyond that. And, often if you think back to challenging times of your life, they are often followed by times of renewal. And I know everyone's going, what the heck, Ashala? Like when is this renewal happening? I want to bring your awareness to the fact that there is an experience of renewal happening more and more and more and more frequently. Little mini miracles, things happening in our lives, synchronicities, connections with loved ones, repair in relationships that we never thought possible, new possibilities emerging. All of that is happening. We tend to get very fixated on what's wrong. Yeah. So let's keep going. We're in the home stretch here. Yay! Yay! I'm doing a happy dance. Have fun. This is in the house of friends, networks, allies. Have fun. Play. Celebrate. This is the joy card. Celebration and play. There we go. So you're working with your hands, getting creative, making things, DIY projects, crafts. And when you connect with friends, please do not go into the long laments or the big, heavy political discussions. Play. Keep that frequency high. Okay. And the final house of Pisces, which is about the deep subconscious and what's emerging, what's submerging, right? So this gateway, interesting, because this card actually does relate to the sign of Gemini. And I was speaking earlier about coming at life from that Gemini style perspective of, really I want to say there's going to be something this week about recognizing how you work with choice in your life and how, what I've been shown about choice lately is that we are ideally making more and more choices that leave us more options open as opposed to a lot of restriction. So, yeah, there's something about noticing how you make choices, when you make choices, under what influences. What is it that influences your choices? It's so interesting that the choice card is between the Three of Cups, joy and celebration, and the Five of Cups, sorrow and disappointment. So I'm guessing it would be really great to make choice from a place of joy and celebration. And you may even want to suspend making big choices until you're in that frequency. Well, of course, I was like, wait a minute, Gemini, right? Gemini ruled by Mercury. We're in Mercury retrograde for another couple of weeks. It started, gosh, when did it start? On the 6th, I think, and it goes till the 28th. So choices, maybe zooming out a little bit, getting a bit more of a big bird's eye perspective. And if you do want to strategize and think about choice, do it when you're in that playful mode. Notice what it is that you think about and how you think about choice when you're in that mode. Have you ever noticed that? Like you're with friends, you're sharing, you're in a really good space, and then excuse me, and you're thinking about, oh, I should do this, I should do that. I'm really ready to make this choice and to do that thing and to take those steps. And then you get home a couple of days later, you're already down your own little, rabbit holes with all your worries and everything. And you can't even think of why you thought that choice was even remotely reasonable, right? It's like so different. So it's very interesting how we psych ourselves out and how to notice what it is that we're thinking about and choosing when we're in a better state. Okay, last card. Woo-wee. King of Fire, King of Wands at the center. He's the companion to this Queen of Wands. He's also the brother to this King of Pentacles down at the bottom. So you see this fellow? Also has the lion on his throne. So he's also very much connected to the sign of Leo, to this energy of this time of year, the meteor showers, the dynamic energy. Okay, I'm speaking mostly for people in the northern hemisphere. When you're in the southern hemisphere, in some ways, you're at the opposite end of the spectrum. You're in your most kind of internal time, or just starting to emerge, just getting ready for a spring. But even that, just emerging and getting ready for spring has that new growth, new potential. He's the most dynamic card in the tarot, like the biggest fireworks in the whole display. He's that one that comes at the end and just goes, right? And everyone's just standing there awestruck. So, make space for the dynamicism to land this week, because it's coming in last, but it's potent. So this week feels very potent. We're ending off with that Six of Pentacles that was on the bottom, which is about what is going to replace all this change is something much healthier. And when we think about time, it's hard to stomach it. We think, oh my gosh, it's already been years. How many more months, weeks? I can't even handle days. Let's talk hours. And again, I just keep being shown, look for evidence of this dynamic change, not so much the destruction, but the rebirth, the renewal, because it's literally right underneath. The renewal is right underneath the destruction. All right, everybody. I'm going to just say fare thee well. Please, of course, remember to like, share, subscribe here at Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And as I said before, if you want to book a session with me, this is where you find me. You can have a 1-hour psychic tarot reading session. I'm taking bookings into the end of August and early September now. And yeah, you can connect with some people who've had sessions with me in the past in the comments, and they're sharing that it's been really, really helpful for them. We do this kind of spread for you as an individual. We look at your life from the perspective of all these different angles. That's how we start off. So the first 20 minutes is me interpreting your big picture, life picture perspective from what your guides feel is the most important, relevant information for you at this time. And then that kind of sets the tone for us to go in whatever directions you want to go with your questions. So it's a fantastic hour-long experience, a time for you to devote to yourself and to be held in that sacred space. I look forward to seeing you here next week live. Have a beautiful week, everybody. Blessings to you all. Bye for now.